I want to talk to you today about Venus and Taurus, and I had to come on here before Venus moves into Gemini because we're not going to have a felt sense opportunity like this to tap in until she's in Taurus. I'm out here right now with some of my plant friends. This arugula right here, those white flowers you're seeing, just kind of reseeded all over my yard from a couple years ago when I first planted her. So why are we sitting here talking about astrology when all of this crazy shit is going on in the world? I have some ideas. Archetypical energy and stories and mythology rule a lot of how we think about ourselves in the world. Also, it's fun, and you may find it personally useful. I know I have. So, who's Venus? There's no one right answer. Famously, Venus is represented by the form of a woman. And it's really interesting that in a lot of stories and mythology, written mostly by men, Venus is captured as this object of desire or even temptation. She's put into this role as a sexual object for men's viewing pleasure or utility. We're just not very interested in that in this video. I want to say that gender roles in New Age thought are reductive and generally fail to express the polarity that they're pointing at. In colonized cultures, we have this perception of the masculine feminine polarity that is very much based in gender roles. All of these contortions of our perspective are extremely limiting. If I say anything to the effect of man, woman, female, male, whatever, and it's just not doing it for you, discard it. We're talking about a polarity here. And if you want to know more about gender roles and how they are enforced, I recommend reading Bell Hook's The Will to Change. If you're not going to read a book and you know this about yourself, go listen to Bell Hooks speak about love and about gender. Who is Venus really? Venus is an archetype of desire, but this can include love, sex, art, but we're not seeing the full picture when we're engaging with that very stripped down archetypical energy. And it's going to help us if we take a minute at the beginning of this to note how much we've been cut off from our bodies and taught that we don't have time to listen to our bodies, what our bodies are telling us about what they want and don't want. The general idea in our culture is that's great and all, but there's work to be done. It's a frivolous thing to sit there and listen to your body or to do introspection or feel through your body. We never have time. There's always this manufactured urgency. And so through that socialization, we learn to ignore our bodies. That's something relevant to what's happening here. That's another common thread, is that Venus things, whatever they are generally considered to be frivolous. They may also be seen as things that are only available to people with significant monetary wealth, because those are the only people who generally have the time. I'm sure you've noticed by now that a lot of what we're indoctrinated to believe is inverted in some way, shape, or form. So Venus being desire is something that's brought up in an old poem. They mention that Venus is the one who guides the hearts of men and women. Venus is not this temptress of the male gender as understood under patriarchy, right? She's an older archetype than that, whether or not Venus is the name that we are referring to her by. And if she guides the hearts of men and women, she also drives their actions. Becoming conscious of what we want is a challenge. Almost everything we've been raised to believe, to see, or act limit us from contact with our desire. If you really know what you want and you feel that in your body and allow it to guide you, you won't be diverted by marketing or herd mentality. You have clarity of desire, at least enough to know that you don't want what they told you you want. For many of us, our desire is liberation. Another common desire, you probably said this when you were a kid, is that you want to grow up and help people. Before any action, we can check in with ourselves and ask whether our action is aligned with our true desire. And if checking in with yourself is difficult for you, it could be that you check in with your ancestors, with the land, whatever works. If you use the God word, that's an option. Depends on what kind of God you believe in, ultimately. But desire is so powerful, and it can sometimes be a temptation, but that's generally a manufactured desire. When you allow yourself to attune to your true desire, even if it's less specific than what you would like, what this Capricornian high control culture, would like you to have on a spreadsheet somewhere, you can still feel into that and begin to attune to it and have that as a guiding light. Venus is a guiding light in the sky. She's super bright. And when you are pulled in a direction by your true desire, because that's what desire does, it moves us to act. That's why it's so powerful. It generally moves you toward this generative feedback loop. You're moving toward your true desire. You're listening to your heart. You're proud of the things you're accomplishing. Even when some of those things are minuscule, maybe even unnoticed by some of the people around you, if not all of them. These little things add up over time. As you know, these pages are getting so wet. I'm going to cover my cards with this box. When you're in this self-generating feedback loop of positive forward motion, and yes, we're still subject to cycles of growth and decay, so sometimes you are going to pull back from the work, maybe pass the torch to somebody else for a little bit. Feeling that contraction is not a personal failure. It's part of the cycle. I want to add that in there in case you're someone who needs to hear that today. But when you're in that self-generating feedback loop of action toward your true desire, you're less susceptible to outside opinions and feedback. That's not to say that you don't listen to anyone, but you don't allow someone else's words or opinions to guide your action, to supersede your own desire. Our desire is so powerful that it's been colonized and it has been weaponized against us on so many different dimensions. It's unreal. We are encouraged to interact with our bodies as though they are machines. We are encouraged to interact with other people as though they are machines. In the New Age spirituality context, there is this colonization of desire. It's the desire to transcend the earthly realm or to be perfect. We're encouraged to tap out of our bodies and disconnect with the earth. And to disconnect with our humanity. Have you noticed that? Desire directs action. Venus directs Mars. That's what this means. This isn't about some sort of, ooh, the woman attracts the man thing. It can be, right? If you want to leave it there, then leave it there. But there's so much more to it. What you want informs how you act and how you use your power. You know how a lot of spiritual wisdoms lead you to consider right action? We are so pathological about the need to be right. We want to be right. We see this idea of correctness, and we're like, I want to be good, I want to be right. And we were taught that being good and being right was the thing that we need to aim for. And when we're aiming for that within a herd mentality that is disconnected from their bodies and the earth, we're never going to get it right. This desire to transcend is a learned desire. So what is right action? You won't know unless you have clarity of desire. Sit with the question, what do you want? What does my heart want? What does my body want? Most of us are walking around like Jack Sparrow with his compass, directed in every which way and dependent on others to direct us. That can be fun, but it's not the only option you have available. Advertising and media and education and corporations are all in the business of harvesting your energy through the colonization and weaponization of your desire. Because by doing that, they're harnessing your power and your life force energy. Desire drives action. What could possibly be more of a priority when you're in the business of homogenizing people and consolidating power and wealth? What is Taurus? Taurus is an archetype depicted by a cow or a bull, representing fertility, resources, and values. Taurus is an earth sign and correlated with the second house of the astrology chart. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Just something to note, there is a strong correlation here between these two archetypes. What's the link? Well, one of them is that what you want or desire says a lot about your values. How you spend your money or utilize your resources says a lot about your values. It's that deep. It's not unchangeable, even though Taurus is often stubborn. If anything, Taurus is interested in finding the root. Taurus is earth. Taurus is revealing. Taurus is not the polarity of Scorpio for no reason. What do you know you need to do? Who do you know you really are? If anything, what is blocking you from embodying your values? In pop astrology, you'll hear a lot about money when we're talking about Taurus, but just like Venus isn't all about sex, Taurus is much more than money, food, and comfort, and stubbornness. But yeah, where does your food come from? And who is enslaved so that you may eat it? Same question when it comes to your comfort. If there's a disconnect there, that's going to be noise getting in the way of your ability to attune to your true desire. There's another name for it. It's called cognitive dissonance. Getting rid of as much of that noise as you can by aligning yourself with your values is going to help you attune and have so much more clarity of desire. I think it's really important that we talk about this during this time that we're in right now. The more of us that attune with that true desire, the more we will build these networks of care that are not based on systems of domination. If you have a lot of this cognitive dissonance going on, I know I shouldn't do this anymore, but I am. Your energy and personal power is being leaked and harvested. Body knows more than we think. Taurus is related to the earth and therefore also our own bodies. Some of us are seeking what we believe to be safety and security within systems that were set up to make us dependent, docile, afraid of humans and life and the truth of our interconnection with each other and the rest of the web of life. I want to add too, and shout outs to my mom for encouraging me to read early on, also to study vocabulary and etymology. The root word of human is humus, which refers to the soil. So we are the living earth, and that can be seen, felt, and sensed through the archetype of Taurus. It's really a special sign. So if you have any placements there personally, I encourage you to tune into that and ask what wants to be felt, what wants to be heard through that. To close us out today, I'm going to shuffle a few cards for us. If you're hopping out before the cards, thank you for joining. Thank you for spending time frivolously attuning to your true desire today. I know I certainly appreciate you taking the time to do that, and I hope you feel good about it. The wastelands, sustainability, and slow down. Okay. The word sustainability is really interesting because it's such a great example of how words have been manipulated over time to achieve the ends for these sort of corporate entities that do not have life in mind. So slow down. There's more to be found within the weeds. If you're someone who's telling yourself you're slowing down and you're really not, I encourage you to do it. I'm guilty of this myself. I always think I'm slowing down, and then, well, it turns out I still need to slow down. And it just lets more land. So much more can be received when we slow down. Stop it with the incessant traveling and always needing to have some around you. Like, please, I beg of thee. Spend some time alone, spend some time in reflection, spend some time with your journal, spend some time with the music off or the podcast off or the video off. Attune to what's there. Okay. Resonance is one of the topics. Trigger statement, I am right, and true statement, I am open to the unknown. The plant is oregano. Very powerful and protective herb. You are being shown what is dissonant in your life. Cognitive dissonance, babe. Allow the beliefs that are not serving you to fall away and be open to your bright future. We do have to let go to let the new things come in. There is a trade-off there. You will feel uncomfortable, but this is the way you're being called to move right now. Cilantro, letting go. Trigger statement, this is not the way it is supposed to be. True statement, I am free. Lift up your burdens and allow the divine to free you from them. Allow yourself to be cleansed of anything that is weighing you down. Let the truth out, even if it's something that you feel you're not supposed to say, you're not supposed to feel. If you're super mad at somebody and like any of the stuff that you feel blocked from expressing, let it out. I encourage you to let it out, whether that's just to yourself or to a trusted friend, confidant of some sort. Write it. Writing is very powerful. Speaking is very powerful. We're moving towards getting free, right? That requires letting go. So this has been Venus and Taurus, and if you have any questions, I welcome them in the comments or one-on-one discussion with me. If you know how to reach me, do so. Peace, y'all.